Welcome everyone to our 10th Zoom event. I'm Leslie Snow, President of Ulster County Women's Network, and we're pleased to have here today Linda Schultz with us. And welcome Linda, members and guests, and thank you all for attending. Before we give Linda the spotlight, let's take a few moments of silence to acknowledge our grief for the more than 465,000 who have died in the United States. It's just mind-boggling. And the millions of others, including ourselves, who have suffered from this pandemic in any way you choose. Thank you. Let me introduce our advisory committee. Gloria Waslin, Vice President. If we're in gallery view, everybody could wave their hand. Judy. Gloria Waslin, I can't see her. Gloria. Gallery view. Okay. Everybody see Gloria? And then we have Judy, who's been helping me with the video, and she's our editor. And Sheila, hi, welcome. Sheila is our community relations coordinator. And Kristen Wenger, and she is our dynamic duo coordinator extraordinary. Thank you for your time. They're my advisory committee, for your time and effort that you give to Ulster County Women's Network so generously. And we have some new first-time guests here. We've been chatting. We have Christine Flonis. Did I pronounce that correctly? Raise your hand. And Shannon Flynn, did she come in? I don't think so. And Gay Galitzine, there she is. And Barbara Jan Sosnowitz, there she is. Everybody welcome Linda Linton, is she here? There she is, there's Susan, hi. And Abby Schiff, new member, thank you. And her guest, Amy Barash, there you are. And Judy Black, did she make it? No, and Ellen McGowan, we've been chatting, so thank you all for coming. And I guess it's Kristen.
Thank you, Leslie. Good to see everyone. Welcome, and welcome to the new folks tonight, and hope we can get together in person soon. So I have the honor of introducing our presenter tonight, Linda Schultz, and Linda's a practicing artist whose focus has been Asian aesthetics, mainly Chinese brush painting. And Linda experienced the Chinese culture attending university and by studying with master brush painters. She is a retired public school art teacher with 25 years experience. And currently she teaches workshops at various venues and privately at her studio. Her work has been shown throughout the area, including the Woodstock Artists Association and Museum, the Art Society of Kingston, the Kleiner James Gallery at Birdcliff, the Woodstock School of Art, and the Emerge Gallery. I will ask that, if you have questions as Linda presents her workshop, please put them in the chat area, and we'll get to them at the end of the session. So without further ado, it's my honor to introduce and ask you all to welcome Linda Schultz.
You gotta unmute. Okay, but now I still see everybody. Oh, there I go. Okay, great. Okay, good evening, everybody. It's a joy to be here. I'm here to give you a little bit of insight to Chinese brush painting and to do some demonstration. It's very strange seeing myself as I'm talking to you. I have to look away. So let me give you a little bit of a background about myself. I'm a retired art educator, and now I am a working visual artist. I work in different mediums. I'm an oil painter, a watercolorist, a printmaker. I do collage, but my passion is Chinese brush painting. And I've been studying for over 30 years with some very prestigious instructors. Now, how did I become interested in Chinese brush painting? Well, 1980, I went back to college to get my art educator's degree, raising 3 children, and graduated and immediately got a job. And then came to find out that I had to get a master's in 5 years. Well, that was a pretty stressful time in my life. So I wanted to figure out a way to decompress, to lessen the stress. So one day I got hold of a Ulster County Community Continuing Education Catalog. Now that's a mouthful to say. And I was browsing through it, and I found a class on meditative art, a meditative art form called Chinese brush painting. And it sounded very interesting. So I took the class, the first class, fell in love with it, and I proceeded to take the rest of the classes that they offered at Ulster County. When I finished that, I found that I had to find another instructor. So one Easter vacation, my family and I were headed down south, and I was reading my art education magazine, and there was a little tiny advertisement, meditative art form, Chinese brush painting, with a phone number. So the next time we stopped at a gas station, I went to the pay phone, no cell phone, went to the pay phone and made the call. And a lovely gentleman answered the phone. His name was Professor Ising Ju. He happened to be the head chair for the art department for Washington Lee University down in Lexington, Virginia. So I explained to him what I was looking for, and he said, well, come on down. So besides being the art person at Washington Lee University, he also had his own gallery, his own studio, where he taught students. So he said, come on down. And so for the next 5 summers, I went down to study with him and with other students also. Now he had a gallery and he had a studio, but this was in the 1980s. You were also able to rent a room for him, $15 a night, room and board, and his lovely wife cooked the most magnificent Chinese meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the times that we stayed there. So I studied with him for 5 years until he retired and moved to Princeton, New Jersey, where his daughters lived. And I proceeded to study with him there until, unfortunately, he did pass away. I needed to find a new teacher, so I found Li Wen up in Albany, and I studied with her until she moved to Taiwan. And now I currently study with a Korean instructor, Sun Suk Seton, and she's on Long Island. So I just keep I like to go with different instructors because I learn different techniques. And now with Sun Suk, the technique is a lot freer. So I'm very thrilled to be studying with her. So then, what is Chinese brush painting? Well, it is a meditative form. It's a moving meditation because it involves your upper torso, your arms, and your hands. It's also a meditation that requires you focusing and concentrating on your mind and body together. Chinese brush painting is also, the philosophy of the Chinese is that the journey is more important than the arrival. So even in all my other artwork, it's the process I enjoy. And if a product comes out of it, fine, but I'm not going to get distraught if I don't get a product. So the process is important to me. Nature is actually the theme of Chinese brush painting. Nature, they celebrate nature, and it's a wellspring of inspiration. So how did Chinese brush painting begin? Well, it began with calligraphy. It's an extension of calligraphy. The Chinese started with pictograms. There's a little bit of a shine on here, but they started with pictograms for the words. This is mountain, this is sun, and this is tree. And these are all the different styles that you could write that word in. Now, as the years progressed, these forms, calligraphy forms, got more, they became, oh, what's the word? More complicated. There we go. Became more complicated. And so then it finally broke off into painting. And now what you see here is what is comparable to our printing when we learn to write. So this is a printing form. And then we have a form what is called running grass. This is comparable to our cursive writing. I prefer this compared to this because this is more aesthetically beautiful to me. It's more fluid. Now, they also recommend that you learn to write the Chinese characters before you do the brush painting. Well, sometimes that's just not possible. I did not do that. I just jumped right into the painting. But the strokes, the technique, the tools are exactly the same as painting, as in the calligraphy. So now let me put this down. Now I want to talk about perspective. So Eastern perspective is a little bit different than Western, not a lot. There is no definite horizon line that you can see here. And there's no there's no reflection, and there's no definite shadow, but it does show depth. And that is because when the brush is loaded with the different values, the stroke will give you the shadows. You never know how it's going to turn out. You can try, but this is how you get the depth in the painting. Let's see, put that over here. Okay, we can see that. Okay, so now I want to talk about the 4 distinctive qualities of brush painting. The first is asymmetry. The Asian artists prefer the asymmetry because it gives more expression, more movement. Rather, if you do a symmetrical, it's a little bit more static. So they prefer the asymmetry. So if they work in groups, they work in groups of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Also, another quality is simplicity. Less is more. So they do not put a great deal of detail into the painting. Now, this is called splash painting. It's a little bit different. There is another style of painting where it's done with line and it's extremely detailed. This is not. This is also spontaneous. So it's done in one sitting. It's called splashing ink. It's done in one sitting. You never go over a stroke. Once it's done, it's left. Then we have space. The last quality, Asian artists think about the white space that's left. They want it to be harmonious. Now, what you see here is a painting that has been cropped. You do not see the entire plum blossom. You do not see the entire bamboo. That's because the artist would like the viewer to become a participant and to finish the painting in their mind. Now, also you see a red seal or chop right here. That is a piece of stone that's been carved with the artist's name, and it is then dipped in a red paint and put on the paper. Now, red, they did red because when the painting first started, it was not monotonous. Oh boy. Monochromatic. There we go. Knew it started with an M. It was monochromatic, and they wanted to brighten the paintings up a little bit so that the chop was put into a red paint. You also see writing on this particular painting. The writing could be a poem. It could be a comment about the seasons. But also, when this is put on, the artist has to think about where the placement is going to be of the writing and the chop. Also, there is the artist's signature in here too. So they have to think about where it's going to go. So the whole painting is harmonious. All right. Okay, let's see what we can see here. I'm gonna move this over a little bit this way. Okay, so in order to learn Chinese brush painting, you learn it through the four gentlemen. They're represented by the four seasons. So the first gentleman is the bamboo. And so for the bamboo, you learn the straight strokes. The second gentleman is for fall, and that is the chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, you learn strokes that are the tip for the flower and the stroke for the leaf. The next gentleman is the plum blossom down here, and the strokes learned here are angular and dots. And I'm going to go over more of this when I start demonstrating. And the last gentleman is the orchid, which is you learn the curved strokes. Now, once you learn all of these strokes, let's see what we got here. Okay, once you learn all those strokes, then you're able to make mountains, trees, different kinds of trees, flowers, birds, animals, more flowers. So you can actually do landscapes just by learning the four basic strokes, or the four strokes through the basic four gentlemen. I'm working in a very, very tiny part of my studio, so everything is kind of cramped right now. Okay, so I think, what I want to do next is show you how you can display the artwork. You can frame it, mount it and frame it. But if you do this, the paper is very thin and you have to paste your painting onto another piece of rice paper, so all the wrinkles will go out. Then you can put it on a scroll. Now, I went to China twice with Professor Zhu, and he said, Linda, bring your paintings with and we'll have them mounted while we're in China, which is a fantastic bargain because this costs $10 to have mounted there, and here in America it's about $100. So we have that. Now that's a vertical painting scroll, and then you have the horizontal. Now horizontal you cannot hang. So it's kept in a closet, and over in the Asian countries, when people come to visit, they'll say, may we see your artwork? If there's nothing hanging on the wall, it will be in a cupboard, and they'll bring the scrolls out. So now, Judy, I think we need to go to the other view from the phone. Okay. Oh, where are we? Can you see that large? Yep.
Do you want me to turn you off and just have the
Yes, yeah.
okay, I can do that.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So other ways that you can display are you can do a painting on a piece of styrofoam and then just place it on an easel. Here's another one done on styrofoam, and it can be put on an easel. I make cards. And if they're small enough, they don't have to have, they don't need to be glued onto another piece of rice paper. You can just use a glue stick and glue it onto the cardstock that I used. Here's another sample. Then I used some Japanese paper that I got in Japan, and that can be a card. And most recently, I bought some photo cards, and I actually inserted my paintings inside the frame. So that's what you can do with Chinese brush painting on a small scale, making it easy to display. Okay, now, let's see. I just want to go over this one more time. Bamboo is where we learn the straight strokes. You have the stroke of the bamboo itself, and you have the straight strokes of the leaves. Here's another sample of bamboo, the straight strokes. Then you learn the curved strokes with the orchid, and you learn the tip stroke to make the flower. And then we have the plum blossom. Plum blossom, you have the angular stroke that you learn, and you learn how to make the dots for the flowers. And last but not least is the chrysanthemum. And you learn again how to make the tips, the strokes for the tips of the flowers, and you learn side strokes for the leaves. So these are the four gentlemen and the different ways that you learn the strokes. And once again, once you learn those strokes, you're good to go for anything that you'd like to paint. Okay, so now that was the four gentlemen, and what I'm going to talk about now, the four treasures. Okay, here we have the four treasures. First treasure, brushes. There's several different kinds of brushes. Okay. How long did it take you to learn four gentlemen? Okay, I got a question from Joan. She wanted to know how long it took me to learn the four gentlemen. Joan, I'm still learning. All right, some people just stick with bamboo for their whole life. I'm still learning, but I'm enjoying it because it's a meditation for me. So the first brush is a soft brush. It's made out of goat or sheep hair. It's white. It's very, very what's the word? Soft. It covers lots and lots of areas, large areas. Now this is a very big brush. I don't use this very often because I don't work that big. Here is a smaller brush. Again, goat or sheep, white hair. When you put this brush in the water, it comes to a point, but it does not stay to a point. So these are soft brushes. Next brush is a hard brush. This one is made out of wolf hair. This one is made out of deer hair. When this is put in water, it goes to a point, and when you're using it, it springs back to a point. So you have soft and hard brushes. The next brush is a combination brush. On the outside is the white hair. On the inside is the deer or wolf. So many artists prefer to use this brush because it can go, you can make the lines with it. You can cover larger areas with it too. I prefer the hard brushes. So this brush here, right, is my favorite. I don't know if you notice this, but when I'm writing with a pen or pencil, I have to get a pen or pencil that feels good in my hand, that feels comfortable. And so my instructor, the one I'm working with now, Sun Suk, loves this brush. I do not like this brush for myself. It doesn't feel good in my hand. This is the brush that I use. So everybody is different. So I've got soft, hard, and combination. And then I have brushes that are coarse to make texture on rocks or trees. You can see the coarseness of this brush. This is horsehair. Another brush that is used for texture, and this always gives me a little bit of a chill because this is rat whisker. So when I think about that, I think about them plucking those whiskers out. And then another brush for texture is pig bristle. And again, this is a very coarse brush. So we have soft, hard, combination, brushes for texture, and then very small brushes if you're going to put a detail on. For example, the eye of a bird, you would use teeny tiny brushes like this. And then I have my brush that I use for signature. All right, so I'm going to move all of these brushes aside. Keep my one brush out. All right, that was the first gentleman. The second gentleman is the ink stick. All right. So when I went to China, I went to an ink stick factory and saw the way they made the ink sticks. They have a room full of lamps burning with the lampshade on it. When they're ready to make the ink, they blow the lanterns out and they scoop the soot out of the lampshade and they mix it with camphor and glue, and they put it in a tin and they bake it. So this one is baked. Now here's another one from Japan. I have not opened it yet, and you can see that there is a painting. Well, there is one on this too, but my stick is broken, and this is going to last me a lifetime. I don't know if I'll ever open this one. But these are also collector's items by the paintings that they do on the ink sticks themselves. And when I was in China, I actually got to go into, they opened up a big safe and there were some beautiful ink sticks in there, very large ink sticks too, that were just gorgeous. So these can be a collector's item. Now, when I was in Japan, we were given the soot and the camphor and the glue, and we were rolling it in our hands, and they asked us to then squeeze it with our knuckles and then finished it, put it in a box, and were asked not to open it for 3 months. So this is baked, this is air dried. This is a beautiful ink stick also. I have used that. It's really glorious. So those are the ink sticks. I'll put those away. So we have the brushes, we have the ink sticks. The third treasure is the inkstone. Now, these also can be collector's items because they're carved. This one happens to be a stone from a particular river in China, and it was carved. And this is called the sea. There's an indentation here. This is called the sea. This is called the land. So I have my inkstone. I've got my ink. I'm going to do the paper next before I go on to the ink. But I want to show you the paper. It's called rice paper. That's a generic name. It's not really made out of rice. It can be made out of natural materials such as mulberry or hemp, bamboo or bark, but it's not made out of rice. Now, this paper is very strong, but yet very fragile. In order for a painting to stay on the paper, you must have felt underneath. Otherwise, if you don't have the felt, the ink will just go right onto the table. So I want to show you what I talk about. I have a container of water that I'll be dipping my brush in. Oh, before I do the paper, I have to go back because I forgot something about the brush. Difference between Eastern and Western brushes. Okay, the Eastern brush starts out with long hair. Then there's short hair that goes over the long hair. This is the reservoir. This holds the water and the ink. Then you have long hair that goes over the short hair again. So when you dip your brush into water and the ink, it will go into the reservoir and it will be held, and you can use it quite a long time. Western brushes, all long here and cut to a V shape, to a point. There is no reservoir, so you have to continually reload your brush. And the other thing I want to show you is the way to hold the brush. It's held almost like chopsticks between my four fingers here, and then held lightly like this. Now I think I took oh, Amy, you might have been at this class, the one at Kripalu, where we worked with the brush for several days with a raw egg in our hand, so that we learned how to hold the brush loosely, because if you hold it too tight, your paintings are too stiff. Luckily, nobody broke an egg. Now, when I was teaching 5th grade students, and I thought, oh, let me try the egg thing with the kids. I chose plastic eggs instead of real eggs. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the paper. Okay, like I say, it's strong, but yet if I take water and go across, it rips easily. Also with Chinese brush painting, the main problem is learning water control. It's very difficult. Each paper is different. And now that the young people in China are not taking an interest in Chinese brush painting, a lot of the paper makers are going out of business. And so the papers that I was using no longer exist. So I have to get new paper, and I have to learn how to control the water on that paper. All right, so now the ink. I'm going to pull this over. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to put a little bit of water into what is called the C. And I'll take my ink stick. And now before an artist paints anything, they will go out into nature, choose their subject, maybe perhaps it's a bamboo, and they need to learn and become intimate and observe their objects. So they might do a lot of sketching, a lot of observing with their eye. When they come back into paint, they do not use any sketches. They go from what is in their mind and what they want to paint. So when they're grinding ink, they are going in a slow motion, taking ink up from the sea onto the land. They go in a circular motion 10 times in one direction, 10 times in the other direction. Now, you just don't do it once or twice. This takes about 20 minutes for the ink to get very thick. And when it gets very thick, you push the ink stick away, and if it's ready, you're able to see the bottom of the inkstone. This is not ready at all. So now, when the artist is grinding his ink, he is thinking about what he's going to be painting. He grinds slowly, and the philosophy is, the belief is, that while you're grinding, the chi is coming up, the life energy is coming up from the ink, going up your arm, hand, arm, and to your heart. So that when you do paint, the chi will leave your heart and go down through your arm to your hand and to the brush. So it's like the brush and ink are painting on the paper. It's a dance. Now, this is not ready. I'm not going to continue using this. Now, the purists do use this. It takes forever to make a load of ink, and then when you go to paint, you use that ink up quickly, and then you have to stop and you have to grind. When I was in China, or excuse me, when I was in Japan, I was lucky enough to go to a very famous painter, and you can see he paints very large. Take a look at the brushes that he uses here. And he has a lot of ink, and when he puts that big brush in that ink, it sops it right up. Well, he can't stop and regrind. He has an assistant, his wife. She does all the grinding. So unfortunately, I don't have an assistant. So I have chosen to use liquid ink. That's what I use now. So I am no longer a purist, I guess. The other thing is this ink stick is very powerful with the glue. There was one session where I left the ink stick onto my stone, and when the workshop was over, I went to clean up. This would not budge. I had to actually get a hammer to knock it off. So I make sure that I never make that mistake again. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay. Okay, and when I'm painting, you need to sit with feet flat on the floor, a straight back, but you're not rigid. You're loose enough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate. Once again, I'm going to be holding the brush in this fashion. It's always held perpendicular, straight up and down, unless you're doing a side stroke, then it's held like this. Okay, so I am going to, uh-oh. Can you still, my screen just went to Linda Schultz. Can you still see me? Can you see this? No?
No.
It turned off. Let me
Okay,
see.
hold on.
I don't know if I can turn it back on.
I'm going to do it. Oh, it's because I'm losing power on my phone.
My goodness.
Uh,
You have a plug handy?
Yep, hold on. I got to go get it.
This is so interesting.
Yes, I hope everyone's enjoying it.
Yeah, really fascinating.
Very much. I'm mesmerized.
Yes.
I'm not only interested, in the box in back of me, I have all these four gentlemen and all the paintings that in 1960 I was doing exactly what she's doing. It was kind of fun. And
Ooh, really?
yeah, I've got them back here, some of the things. And it was 3 months of instruction.
Join audio. All right, let's see if I can get this working now. This has got to reach over here. Oy, 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 oy. No, it just doesn't want to reach. No. I'm an inch too short. What the heck am I going to do?
Well,
Okay.
we can have questions and answers.
Oh, here we go. I got it. That's pulling the, no. Can you see me? You can't see it now?
Could you demonstrate on your easel?
Slide to power. What's going on?
You have another device you can use?
Okay, let's see if it's coming back up. Okay, now we got to go back to the phone. How come it won't go to the phone?
Because
There we
I
go.
have,
Nope.
take it easy.
Okay. Can you get just that? Oh, son of a gun.
There you are.
Let's see if it's going to stay.
Good. That looks good.
All right, I'm going to quickly work before it runs out. All right, I'm going to do some bamboo. Okay, I'm going to do the bamboo stalk first. Here's the stalk. Oh, now it's going the other way. This is a stalk right here, and this is the node where the branches come from. All right, so let me do. Now, Judy, you see now the camera's going the opposite way, the way we wanted it to go before. Unbelievable. All right, I'm putting some water. I'm making a value. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to make 2 bamboo. You can't see that, can you?
Move it the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now see, Judy, the camera's going the opposite way than we were working with it before. Unbelievable.
You didn't put it in the same,
Yeah, I did. I put it in the exact same spot. Let me see if I can switch it. There we go. All right, we'll have to work with it like that. Wow. This is crazy. Okay. Now this is going to be old bamboo. I'm going to put some age dots. Now I need to put the nodes in right here. You should see how I'm painting. I'm painting with the phone in between my arms. Okay. All right, these are straight strokes. So now what I want to do is I want to, how much ink did you put in your water? Just a tad, because it's very strong ink. I just put a tad of ink in my water. All right, now I want to make some branches. All right, now I'm going to add my leaves. Again, these are straight strokes. All right, so I would consider that finished. Now I have to think about where I'm going to sign my name.
Can you move it
Move it?
slightly to the left so we can see all of the image? Yeah.
Okay. I meant to show you this because this is the bamboo and the branches come out. They alternate sides. There's one here. There's one on this side. They alternate. And I also wanted to show you the leaves. These are what the leaves look like. All right, so now I have to sign my name. I need a very dry brush. I have to decide where I'm going to put it. I'm going to move it over here for now. There, wow. I'm going to put it right here. That says Linda Schultz in Chinese. Then I have to take my chops. I have a large, or yep, I have a medium, and I have a small. See those? So I want to get one that's in proportion. So I think I'm going to go with this large one. So I'm going to take my ink, which is Cinnabar. Where is it? Cinnabar, and it's mixed with horsehair. I'm going to take my chop, put it in here, and then I'm going to place it below my name. Okay, so there you have the bamboo. Okay. Now let's see, what time have we got? Should we stop for questions? It's 10 after or 20 after 6.
Since we asked people to put them in the chat, I don't see any, you answered the two that were.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so let me do an orchid, okay?
Perfect, thank you.
Let me tell you, this is a challenge. Okay. Let's see. Over there. This is the angle Judy and I have been trying to get my phone to do, and it wouldn't do it until just now. Okay. Going in the ink. Okay, this is where we learn the curved stroke. Okay, now I need to put the flowers on. All right, I have the flowers on. Now I'm going to put the stem on. And I have to put the heart of the flower in.
The page up, we can't see what you're doing. There we go. Thank you.
Linda, can I ask you a question while you're doing this?
Yeah. Mhm.
So someone asked, Holly asked if you're using the same brush as you used.
Yes, same brush.
Okay. And also, how often are you dipping your brush in the ink?
For every leaf, I put my brush in the ink.
Thank you.
And I make sure I load it so I get lights and darks. You can see the lights and darks here. Okay. Now I'm also using, like I said, a different paper this time. And I'm not happy with it because it bleeds too much. Like my flowers, I'm not happy with. It's bleeding too much. So now I have to think about again, where am I going to put my name? So I think I'll use a smaller top for this. Oh, it died. All right, so my phone just died, but here's what can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was good timing. Okay, so there are questions.
Yeah, I think we're just at the last one.
There's 15 in the chat.
We pretty much we got them as we went along. A lot of them are comments about how
Okay.
wonderful this is. But Leslie just
Okay.
asked, what's it called when you cross the branches to make an enclosed space?
You have to say that again?
I thought it was like you crossing the branches so that you have an enclosed space in some of the branches. All the branches don't go in the same way, like a dragon's eye or something.
It's called Horn of the Deer. The branches are called Horn of the Deer. When you're doing plum blossom, you have, oh gosh, it just escaped my mind. Yes, there's different terms for different formations for leaves and for branches. There's different names, and it gets quite complicated.
How do you know when to introduce color other than black?
Well, I wasn't able to use color for quite a while with Professor Jew. Once he thinks you're good enough, then they will. He said I could use it, and I want to show you what I use, where I put it. When I do color, I have Japanese colors like this. There are watercolors called Marie's watercolors that are Chinese watercolors in tubes. Now, the reason you use these watercolors is because there's alum in it. So when you go to paste the second piece of rice paper underneath your original painting, it won't bleed. If you use regular watercolors, if you go ahead to paste another piece of rice paper on top under your painting, it will bleed. It makes a big mess. So when you're doing work on rice paper, you need to use the Japanese or the Chinese watercolors. Anything else? No. Okay. If I had my camera view, I could go ahead and demonstrate the plum blossom and the chrysanthemum, but it's dead.
Is there sources for the brushes and the Chinese or the Japanese?
Yes, Oriental Art Supply. If you Google that, you'll come up with Oriental Art Supply. The other is blueheronarts.com.
Okay.
So those are the two places I get my supplies. But today I just learned, because I was online taking my class at the China Institute, somebody told me about a website called pigment.com, which has very nice arts, oriental supplies. So I'm going to check that one out too.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Someone
Did
just
I just put it in right?
going to give a class.
Pardon me?
Did I put it in right?
I can't hear you, Judy.
Did I put in the names of the sources right
Where did you put it?
in the chat?
Oh, I gotta look. I gotta look.
And also someone asked if you're going to give a class.
I could. After doing this, I'm well on my way. I'm sure I have to perfect it a little bit more and make sure my phone is charged all the way. So yes, there's my email. So yes, I would give classes. Before the pandemic, I was giving classes in my studio all the time. And so yes, I'm open for that if anybody's willing to try and experiment with me on the Zoom. Okay. Yes, you put everything in correctly there, Judy. You put Oriental Blue Heron Arts. Good. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. This was terrific. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, we really appreciate it. And thanks for, allowing us to be your first Zoom exercise. We appreciate
No, you should see the studio. It looks like a bomb hit it. I've just thrown everything over.
I really love what you said in the beginning about the journey's more important than the arrival. So
Yeah.
we're all on quite a journey here, and we appreciate you
Yes.
coming along with us. So
Thank you.
and I'm just going to turn. Leslie, do you want me to talk about next month before I turn it back to you? Okay. All right. Terrific. So again, Linda, thank you so.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
for our March 9th event, we will have a live cooking demonstration by Chef Nava Atlas. And
Ooh.
Nava is the author of several cookbooks on vegetarian and vegan cooking. And her emphasis is on easy, healthy recipes. So please look for the upcoming announcement to learn more about that session. And certainly a big thank you to Sheila Gould for organizing the March event. So thanks, Sheila. And I think it should be really exciting to have a cooking demonstration. So anyway, more to come. So I will turn things back over to Leslie to close us out for the evening.
So Linda, thank you so much for helping us understand Chinese brush painting a little bit more.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was just really just a wonderful experience. You just can see that I like Chinese.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And this, anyway, we'd like to show our appreciation by giving you a 1-year membership to Ulster County Women's Network. So
Oh, thank you.
Remember, and other members will be able to contact you through the website. Everybody needs to put up their profile and their headshot, and your email will be up there automatically. So I hope we'll see you at future events.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And also, don't forget to support our business partners. And until next time, please know that we are here for you. And we will meet in person this year. Ideas or what you want that to be like, or want to host something, just let us know. And just don't forget that this too shall pass. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Vaccinated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Such a good crowd here.
Thank you.
Nice.
Bye. Bye.
Hey, have a good week, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year.
Wow, there's everybody. Wow.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.